Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Mythbusting here in the Mythbusting world, and in this episode we're doing another round of mini myths, but this time we are stepping up the game and we are doing 7 in this episode. 7 questions, that's right. And I want to say, as always, thank you for your suggestions on the previous video. Again, if you have any questions you want answered, leave them in the comment box of this one. And let's jump right into it. The first question, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to tell you the answer straight away, and then we're going to go and test it. So the question is, can mobs spawn on redstone in Minecraft 1.9? The answer is no. No, they cannot. And that is a change I was unaware of. So we should head over to the testing facility and confirm this. So we are currently on hard difficulty. I've walked around this thing time and time again trying to encourage spawns, but absolutely nothing happens. Let's flick on the lights. You can see on top of all of our obsidian platforms we have redstone, and this confirms that mobs won't spawn on redstone in 1.9. An interesting change, one I was unaware of, and one that I think is really cool. You know, if you play a lot of survival Minecraft, chances are you've accumulated a lot of redstone, and perhaps you could put that to use stopping mobs spawning in certain places. It might not look so great aesthetically, but another thought comes to mind is now all your redstone circuits on your gizmos and contraptions, they are going to be safe from having mobs spawn on them, of course, if they're covered in redstone. So, very interesting change. Let's move on to the second question. Our second mini myth is a fantastic question, one of which I do believe I suggested myself during a live stream. It's to do with charged creepers and the ender dragons. So, charged creepers can drop other mob heads like skeletons and zombies, but I was curious, what happened if the charged creeper delivered the final blow to an ender dragon? Would it drop the ender dragon head? So the ender dragon's health has been brought all the way down, and at this point I'm hoping that the final blow can be dealt by this charged creeper. What we'll have to do is go into survival mode. We'll have to lure it over to where the dragon will land, and if we get the timing right we can move towards the creeper as it's standing near the dragon, and hopefully its explosion will kill the ender dragon. Now if it drops a head or not, I'm pretty sure it probably won't. But the thing that I want to point out is that this isn't impossible in survival, because entities like the creeper can go through the end portal. So if you're playing on a multiplayer server, one of you could lure the creeper through the portal into the end, and then another player on the side could lure it all the way over to where the dragon is, and it would be extremely difficult, but I do think it is possible. Now I've already got the charge creeper here in the end thanks to some commands, and now what I'm going to do is attempt this in survival. However, I've got a feeling it might take me a while, and it might take me a few attempts as well. Okay, that creeper is close to the portal now. Oh, I hope nothing like that does any damage to it. And that's another thing, the dragon... Oh, is he coming in? Might hurt the creeper. Right, and I've got to be careful not to look at any endermen as well. This is definitely trickier than I thought it would be. Wow, it just sent the creeper flying. So the timing has got to be impeccable here, and the creeper's lost interest in me as well. Hey guy, no, don't! I'm not looking at you. There we go. Come on. Come over here. Come over here. Wow. Let's let it blow up. Attempt number 1. Go on. Kill that ender dragon. Oh, and it did it. First time. Quick, let's run in and let's see if there is in fact a dragon head. I don't see one. I see an ender pearl, but no dragon head. And I know some of you are going to say it, that the ender dragon head could have gone through the end portal. This is the exact point where the items come through from the end, and I've just come through here. There is no ender dragon head, so it looks like a charge creeper will not get you an ender dragon head. This next question may involve charged creepers once again. We want to ask if it's possible to create a charged creeper when it's hit by the lightning that hits a skeleton trap. So if you've encountered one of these before, you approach the skeleton trap, it gets struck by lightning, and the 4 horsemen appear. And what we want to know is if there is a creeper there, will it get turned into a charged creeper? It's a good question. Let's go find out. So this will be a very simple and straightforward test, one that I've actually done a few times in a separate world. What we're going to do is summon in a skeleton trap using a command. This will be the same type that you see in survival Minecraft, and then we're also going to put a creeper in there as well, but I thought, hey, why not put a whole bunch of creepers in there just to make sure that one of them gets struck by the lightning. So we approach, and you can see the lightning strikes. Here are the 4 horsemen, and not a single one of these creepers is a charged creeper, which means this is not a way to convert creepers into charged creepers. And I just got to say, this is not a sight I would like to see in survival Minecraft. If you remember the last episode of Mini Myths, we flew our Elytra from all the way up there in the sky through the map to this hay bale wall on the other side, and that was to check if the hay bales would reduce the collision damage of flying into a wall when you're using your Elytra wings. And of course this prompted many of you to ask if this would work with slime blocks, so we've tested the hay bale and now we're going to try it again with the slime blocks. Last time we did this, we were brought down to 1.5 hearts, and this also gives me the opportunity to talk about a world download. Episode 100 of Myth Busting is approaching. Many of you have been asking for a world download in that episode or before, and I thought that I should let you know that that's not the kind of thing I want to do. And we have experienced kinetic energy. It would appear that that doesn't reduce any form of collision damage. So it might sound a little bit mean, but until I'm done with the world, I don't really want to release it for download. That's just how I feel about these things, and I don't foresee myth busting ending anytime soon. So there isn't going to be a world download on episode 100. And interestingly enough, we have not survived colliding with the slime blocks, have we? And that time we only take 1 heart when we land. Interesting. Okay, this time we died. I think it's got something to do with the velocity we're approaching the wall at, which is going to be hard to get the same every time. But one thing's clear, the slime blocks are not going to reduce any collision damage when flying with the Elytra. Our next question is the sort of question that actually gets asked a lot in the comments, and I've covered many things to do with this a long time ago, but this time I felt like, hey, do you know what, this would actually be fun to do. Someone was asking, what is the average ore drop per each different type of ore with Fortune free, which I think is a good thing to know. I'm not sure if I've actually done that test in this series before, but I think we should jump into a time lapse, lay down a load of ore, mine it, and then tally up the totals and find out what is the average drop rate with Fortune free on each of the different ore types. Everybody, and welcome back. And there we go. In case you're wondering, the sample size for each set of ores was 200 blocks each, and the answers are of course on your screen. I'm not going to read these one by one. You can of course read them for yourself. The only interesting thing I thought I'd point out is that nether ore and diamond ore are very similar. Perhaps the numbers behind how this is all determined are the same for those two. But anyway, that's what you get with Fortune free on your pickaxe. This next one is linked to many comments and questions that I get on my videos. It seems like since 1.9 has been around, there is a rumour that protection will help you reduce the amount of fall damage that you take. Now, if this is true or not, I don't know. I definitely know it's not true of 1.8. The way it goes in that update is that feather falling will reduce fall damage and protection will reduce other types of damage, but not falling damage. So feather falling was the only thing to work on that. If it's changed in 1.9, we are about to find out, because I'm going to set up a little testing facility to find out if protection now reduces fall damage. So I've found the old testing facility and I've upgraded it with some command blocks as well, so we can fall down all the way down to 1 heart and then we can get back up to the top again and regain our health, which is fantastic. So testing this was very quick, and what I discovered is that protection does indeed reduce fall damage. Now, it will stack up with each piece of armor, and where the piece of armor is equipped doesn't make any difference, but each time you have more protection you take less damage, which is pretty fascinating in my opinion. And I also tested this to see if there was any difference when it was just on your feet alone, and it wasn't the case. But here's something else that is interesting. If we fall down with feather falling on, you can see that we take, this amount of damage. We go back up to the top, and then if we stack it with protection again, we will take less damage overall. So they actually stack together. Then if we put the rest of our armor on, we take significantly less damage. So all of it gets stacked up when reducing full damage, which is a fascinating change in 1.9. And the last question of this episode is a follow-up to something we did in our previous mini-myths, where we checked to see if all the obsidian in the end would reappear when respawning the end dragon. This prompted many of you to ask what would happen to things that we built in that space, i.e. we dug away some of the obsidian, we put some cobblestone, some other blocks there. Are they going to get replaced? We're going to go into the end and we're going to find out. So one of the tests we're going to do is to see if it dynamically replaces the obsidian. That meaning that it just puts it where it needs to do and it doesn't remove blocks that are in, let's say, like a cubic region around where it might say, hey, we need to build something here. So we're testing that with this platform over here. Now I know a lot of you would suggest to try many different blocks in the game, and I don't know if we're trying all of them, but I grabbed something from the myth busting world where we did a load of testing on all the different block types, and as you can see here, there are lots of different blocks that are going to be placed right where the obsidian will go through it. And then the same thing for all of these blocks over here as well. There is a lot of different stuff all being tested at once. So when I spawn in the Ender Dragon, we'll be able to observe if this test over here has worked. And then what I'll do is I'll go into MC Edit, I'll analyze what's inside the obsidian on these two pillars, and if there's any other blocks left behind, we might find something that the obsidian can't replace. So our dynamic test has shown us that the blocks on the inside area of that cubic region do actually get replaced with air, which is fascinating. Then it made me wonder, what about endstone though, because endstone is everywhere else in the end, and actually it's the same for that as well. I also did this test with some of the obsidian being removed and replaced with endstone, but as you can see, it didn't work for either of those things. So that's one thing that we've learned. And when it came to the other blocks we had placed, absolutely all of them on both columns were replaced with obsidian. And so that concludes this episode of Minecraft Myth Busting. I had a fantastic time doing this one today. Do hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, leave a like. As always, thank you so much for your support on this series. And if you're new to the series, check out the playlist. There are loads and loads of cool stuff for you to learn about Minecraft. But anyway, that's it from me. As always, leave your questions in the comment box down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Bye bye.